Yeah, seriously, wish me luck tonight. It is really hot in here. To show you something ridiculous, because the room is so hot, when I tried to charge my phone, and it wasn't charging. Yeah, when I touched my phone, it was super hot. And guess what was the solution I found? Here's the fridge. Ta-da! So I've got the power bank in there, and my phone in there, and it is charging. I guess, they're right. You get what you pay for. Hey, so I just woke up. If you see the screen is kind of smoky, that's because I just took this phone out of the fridge. Yeah, seriously, it's way too hot in here. I don't think I can even fall asleep. Man, I thought when I booked this hostel private room, I thought I got a deal. But turns out it's actually a trap. Jeez, how I'm gonna survive tonight? It's 5:30 in the morning. So finally the sun has risen, and then I just got out of my room. Yeah, last night was rather a steamy night, and it was hot. Yeah, so I slept probably just a couple hours, and still, by the time I left my room, it was super hot. But now, once I'm outside, it just feels so comfortable. I mean, you can't really, blame the room for it. It is a decent room. Like, during winter or just a regular Victoria weather, I would totally book that room again. But, this is unprecedented. It's the record-breaking, unprecedented hot days. Even according to the forecast, here in Victoria, it's going to hit a record high of 41 degrees Celsius. So yeah, definitely for the regular Victoria, British Columbia, that kind of weather, I would stay here again. But in case it is one of the days with the extreme weather, I would probably next time stay away and book a room with air conditioning instead. So right now I'm just gonna go to the inner harbor and take a look to cool myself down. And then, then once all the places are open, then I'll go for breakfast.
Remember, it was merely 5:30 in the morning, and I was already sweating. It was the day which cities across Western Canada and United States broke the highest temperature record in history. Portland, Oregon, a city known for its moderate climate, reached 46 degrees Celsius or 115 degrees Fahrenheit on that day. This is unprecedented. However, science leading to this has shown decades before it happened. The global average temperature became higher and higher each year. Extreme weather like this had become more and more often across the world. I was afraid that crazy weather like this was only the beginning. It might even become the new normal one day. If you have watched our previous episodes, you know that we're doing a weekend getaway challenge for $100 a day from Vancouver to Victoria. This is the second and final day in Victoria, and we are currently standing at $147.34 total, with a daily average of $73.67. Before the restaurants open so we can spend more money, let's enjoy Victoria with absolutely no one around first. Yeah, I didn't get much sleep the night before, but having an entire city empty just for you is an experience that money can buy, especially for a tourist hotspot like Victoria. Oh, you know what? I actually had to share the great views of the inner harbor with the seal.
Yeah, it's only 6:30. 6:30 in many other countries are really busy, but here in Victoria, it's really quiet. And I'm still kind of surprised that there aren't a lot of people. Yeah, well, unfortunately, I checked the operating hours of restaurants for breakfast. They all open at 8 a.m., so I've got 1 hour and 30 minutes to spare. I guess I'll just enjoy the view of the inner harbor, and then at 8 o'clock I'll go for breakfast. Well, personally, I think the best things in Victoria are actually free to visit. So we're talking about the inner harbor, we're talking about the provincial legislature building, and also, the amazing scenery and architecture around. There is one place I think it's actually worth paying to visit, and that is the Royal BC Museum. I've been there plenty of times, so I'm not going to visit this time. But if you're a first time visitor to Victoria, I highly recommend. The other places like the miniature world, all those stuff that you can clearly tell is pretty much like a tourist traps. I've been to some of those as well, but personally I don't think it's worth the money or the time for those kind of stuff. Yeah, and of course, if you got time, visit the Butchart Gardens. Again, that's one place I've visited plenty of times. I'm not gonna visit this time. It's a wonderful garden. Doesn't matter which season you go to, you're gonna be delighted.
I still got some time left before the restaurants open up. I decided to check out the provincial legislative building once again.
People are obsessed with obelisks. Wow, look at this tree. It was planted only in the 1800s. Look how big it is. Now imagine there are forests that has grown in thousands of years. Now people want to cut them down.
At the time of filming, there was a large-scale protest against old-growth logging at Fairy Creek, not far from Victoria. British Columbia is a province not only famous for its endless temperate forests, but also with a long history of logging. This will not be the last time you hear about the love-hate relationship between BC forests and the logging industry, as we will explore more on this issue in our future episodes of our BC adventures. Of course, let's not forget what was also happening at the same time: the discovery of past mass persecutions of indigenous school children at former Indian residential schools, which we talked about in the previous episode. The year 2021 will be a special year in the history of British Columbia, a year that brings people living in this province full of reflections on what we have done, how we got there, and how we can be better together, through learning the truth and finding the way to reconciliation.
and the happiness for the next generation. Like the water of this fountain, it flows without end. Here we go. Here's a time capsule that was placed here in 1967. So this one's going to be opened in 2067. Quite sure why the unicorn and the lion behind me have such a weird hobby of licking pools. I hope they understand that here in Canada, if you lick a pool in winter, your tongue's gonna stick to the pool, and you're gonna have one heck of experience to get your tongue back.
I know it's another lame joke, but hey, after spending all that time, the restaurants are finally open for breakfast. I decided to eat at John's Place in downtown Victoria. It's an old school diner that serves delicious, no bullcrap food in big portions. My favorite part was the service. Classic and textbook worthy, that kind of service. I felt like I was well taken care of. For those of you who think dressing up like a Hooters waitress alone will get you more tips, think again. Like Vancouver and New York City, Victoria has its own version of Stanley Park and Central Park. It's the Beacon Hill Park.
So far the park is really barren, especially the sun is pretty exposed right now. Even in super hot weather like this, we just passed by a turtle. I'm not sure what is a turtle doing on top of a hill. That was really interesting. What is a peacock doing here again? Here's the soundtracks for today, folks.
The Beacon Hill Park, like its name suggests, is on top of a hill. From there you'll see the mountains of the Olympic National Park, located in Washington State in the USA. Nearby, you'll notice something that's visible from everywhere on this side of the Beacon Hill Park.
So the structure behind me is world's tallest freestanding totem pole. So this totem pole was erected in memory of all First Nations who fought for Canada in World War II.
To better appreciate the views of the ocean, I moved closer to Finneyson's Point. Between 1878 to 1892, guns were set up here to protect Victoria from a potential Russian invasion, which never actually happened. Today is a popular place for locals and tourists to enjoy the unobstructed views of the ocean and the mountains. After visiting the Beacon Hill Park, we have concluded our weekend getaway challenge. Let's calculate the cost to return to Vancouver. $2.50 for the bus ticket from downtown Victoria to Swartz Bay Terminal, $17.30 for the return BC Ferries fare for one passenger, and $3.05 weekend one-zone fare for the bus and SkyTrain ride from Tsawwassen Ferry Terminal to downtown Vancouver. The big breakfast plus the record-high hot weather didn't make me hungry till the next day, but I did purchase a bottle of soda before leaving downtown Victoria, which cost $3.48. Our total expenditure for this weekend getaway, $197.06, with an average daily cost of $98.53. That means we have successfully completed the $100 a day budget challenge. However, our adventure on Vancouver Island hasn't ended yet. On the edge of the Beacon Hill Park is Mile Zero. This is the place where the Trans-Canada Highway started. It was also the place where Terry Fox supposed to finish his cross-country run beginning in Newfoundland, which unfortunately could not be completed. Mile Zero would be a great place for the beginning of our Vancouver Island adventure. Where are we going next? Stay tuned.